Well, Salford, having come close against Wigan last week, going down 12-18 to the champions, keep faith with a virtually unchanged 17. Niall Evalds is at fullback, Sio and Inu the wings, Wellham and Bibby in the centres, Lollahea and Jackson Hastings the halves. In the forwards, Lee Mossop captains the side, Logan Tompkins, Gil Dudson, who was outstanding last week against his former club, Josh Jones, who got man of the match against Wigan, George Griffin and Tyrone McCarthy. And the change is on the bench. Ryan Lannon drops out, Greg Burke returns, Flanagan, Lussick, Walker and Burke for coach Ian Watson. The Castleford Tigers similarly go with just about the same lineup after their win over Warrington, although they do make a couple of changes. Callum Turner drops out, which means a return for Greg Eden for his first appearance since early August. Rankin is at fullback, Clare, Chase Blair, Minikin, Eden returns, Jake Truban and Peter Matautia. In the forwards, Liam Watts, Paul McShane, Grant Millington, Oliver Holmes, Chris Clarkson and Nathan Massey is fit again, so he returns, which means that on the bench there is no place for Jamie Ellis. It's Milner, Cook, Jax O'Neill and Daniel Smith, and the coach is Darryl Powell. Ian Watson has been in charge for 62 months now, Salford's longest serving coach of the summer era, and enjoying a fantastic season which isn't over yet. Darryl Powell likewise the first coach in the club's history to secure 6 consecutive top 5 league placings. And now their sides prepare to take the field at the AJ Bell Stadium on a mild night, but there is rain in the air, and the rain starting to swirl around now, and it will do that on and off during the course of the game, according to the local forecast. Salford greeted by vocal support, just as we saw against Wigan last time out. They really have rallied to the cause of the Red Devils supporters, but so too of the Castleford Tigers supporters, on 14 coaches coming to this game, and fair play to the players as well, because they put their hands in their pockets and helped to fund some of that transport. Sponsors have as well, club staff has as well, which means there is a fantastic turnout for the Castleford Tigers as well, hoping to see them progress in this stage of the season. 5th place finishes Castleford up against 3rd place finishes Salford. Some intriguing matchups, Terry O'Connor, including Jackson Hastings, nominated for Man of Steel, and Jake Truman, nominee for, again, Young Player of the Year.
Yeah, they've been standout performers, haven't they, for their side. Jackson Hastings, the heartbeat of everything that's been going on well for them, both on and off the field, and you need your big fellas to play well. The likes of Liam Watson, Jake Truman knows that one of his goals for Castleford to win this game today, he's got to outplay Jackson Hastings. They've got to take that thinking time away from Jackson Hastings. They've got to take the forwards and dominate the likes of Gil Dudson and Lee Mossop, who were really good last week when they played against Wigan. So all eyes on those 2 halfbacks, but an intriguing 80 minutes.
As you can see, the rain falling. Tyrone McCarthy prepares for the start of this game, which will be refereed by Ben Thaler. So that might have a bearing on how this game pans out. But either way, it's a fascinating match to look forward to, and the incentive is a place against either St Helens or Wigan next week to decide who goes through to the grand final. Salford with ball in hands, first up here, and Lee Mossop, their captain, in possession. Now, we saw some great defence from the Castleford Tigers last time they were on Sky, that victory over Warrington. You sense with Salford's attacking power, they are going to have to be just as good, if not better, tonight.
If you listen to what Kevin Brown said after the game, he said the defence of Castleford Tigers negated everything that was happening out wide in those channels near the touchline, because the speed that they got up, Castleford Tigers, just meant the ball never got there, and they're going to have to do something similar. Hastings, Lollahea, if they don't have the time and space, then they can't create too much.
Hastings with the kick, just stepped outside his 40. And a first touch for Greg Eden, and I'm sure his heart would have been in his mouth then, because he's back in the side. First appearance since August the 4th against Hull Kingston Rovers. Been in the wilderness as Greg Eden and is prone to the occasional error. So to get that kick in his hands early on will be good for him.
You just want a good touch. The first good touch in a big game. He has been hit and miss, but he's a player that can pull something out of the bag and cause you an awful lot of problems. So when you do kick to him, you've got to make sure you're on your guard as well.
And he brings with him a try-scoring threat, which maybe the Castleford Tigers have lacked latterly. Good defensively, but points have been harder to come by. Here is James Clare, who is in fact their top try-scorer, with 16 in all competitions this season. Matautia, Nathan Massey back in the side, having missed the sweep. Wyatt just on the halfway line, and it is with Matautia putting the kick in. Dudson with the challenge late on, straight to the arms of Niall Evalds.
Isn't he assertive when he's catching that ball? He knows that the distance is probably only 30 metres. He meets it, catches it at full tilt and puts Salford Red Devils straight on the front foot.
Evalds ever present in all 32 games this season, and this in fact is his 42nd consecutive appearance. Here's Hastings now, with McCarthy just inside Castleford Tigers territory. Hastings once more. Josh Jones, big performance from the big man at Wigan last week in defeat, earning him the man of the match. Logan Tompkins and Tui Lolohea with the outside of the boot, kicking across field. It's Wellham who's underneath it, and then it's Griffin who puts the kick in.
Proper forwards kick, that isn't it?
But that all came about because the pressure from Paul McShane on Lolohea. It comes off the side of his boot, like you say, and then Griffin gets it. Well, it's just a hit and hope, isn't it? Another player who was really good last week, Griffin, going to be at Castleford next year, and they get 7 players now, don't they? 7 tackles now Cass have to get away from the try line.
They do have real strength, Salford, in those back rows. George Griffin come up with a crucial try. But I think Josh Jones, even though he got the man of the match and was voted quite rightly as the best player in Salford, I still think there's another 5 or 10% in these big games. He didn't bust as many tackles, he didn't find as many offloads. I hope we see the best of him tonight.
Here is Matautia. These sides win a piece in meetings this season. Liam Watts, who cleaned up at the Castleford Tigers awards night recently, won just about everything that was going. Watts did.
That's terrific work. Still beats the markers. Markers not set. That's the reason Paul McShane can get out, because of the determination and the tenacity of big Liam Watts.
20 metres out as the ball is with Jake Truman. His first attacking kick of the game. He's good at that. Sio, though, is equal to the challenge.
A good take under pressure from Greg Eden. Trapped in the corner now, and need a big defensive set of 6 here now. Castleford, the fans are trying to encourage them. Look at this, under pressure, eyes on the ball, and good take.
Here's Logan Tompkins, and Mossop now.
But you just got to be patient in these sort of games. Castleford or Salford will hunt the mistake when you're up defending near the opposition's try line. Players are nervous when they're catching the ball. They know that it's going to be a quick defensive line that's up in front of them. And offloading the ball here.
He isn't going to keep it conservative, is it?
It's Chris Nannin who just squeezed that pass out when everybody thought the tackle was on its way to being completed.
And it cost his side last week. He'll have that at the front of his mind, but that occasion they get away with it. We had almost 20 minutes of it when Salford Red Devils met Wigan Warriors. I think it was something like 19, 18 minutes on the clock before we got the first try by Oliver Gildart last week.
Rankin was underneath that kick. Jordan Rankin at full-back. Having a good run in the side. He's been in for the last 16. Now then, Chase Blair. Very experienced in NRL playoffs, 6 of them to his name. Matautia, Grant Millington across the fields. Griffin low down, McCarthy up top with the tackles. McShane. Here is Chris Clarkson. McShane and Truman with the kick again into that corner. Again, Sio is underneath it. Again, Eden was challenging. This time it's Holmes underneath it. Holmes trying to get the pass out, but Wellham it is who gets the loose ball.
That was play on.
It is, you're right, Tess. It hits the Salford player.
It's still play on.
And they knew that as well, didn't they, Salford Red Devils? Even though that ball was bobbling, they weren't going to let it go to the screen or go to the video ref, Robert Hicks, because they could have been awarded a try. Here's the take. Batted back by a Castleford player. Oliver Holmes, as he does, tidies it up. And when he tries to offload it, it ricochets off a Salford player forwards, but it was play on.
So Salford doing well to get out of trouble there from behind their own try line. And now they're up to the 40-metre line. 4 tackles gone, and here is Josh Jones. Matautia wraps him up with that tackle, and Clarkson comes to assist. Just inside Tiger territory. And it's with Jackson Hastings. Time to get the kick away. It's another good one. This one into no man's land, and no man was waiting for it. And in the end, it's Greg Eden. And Eden is going to counter. This is what they brought him back for.
Yeah, well, that's where he is dangerous, but you've got to make sure that you catch those balls on the full. You can't let them bounce anywhere. Seeing the likes of Truman.
Truman's going to the sideline.
See, and that's what you get. There's a bit of panic that sets in. When the ball bounces, everyone's looking around thinking, whose ball is it? Who's going to get us out of trouble? Then all of a sudden, you've got some strong defence here from Jake Bibby, who holds him up. Look at him. He's got him up. He's pushing him to the sideline. And Jake Truman knows he's in trouble. And I think all the panic comes about because when that ball was kicked high in the air, it hits the ground.
Stuart, has he got rid of this before he's gone over the whitewash?
Well, he's got to get rid of it before he touches that. And has the ball gone? Yes, it's just gone. But a very difficult decision for the touchers right on top of it there, but it does look like he didn't get the ball away.
Salford, though, get head and feet. Reward for that keen defence. And here is Chris Wellham now. Really solid performer for Salford this season. Only missed 2 games as Wellham. Griffin. Just edging their way forward now. They've got tackles, plenty of them in the bag here of the Salford Red Devils. Their first real opportunity to examine this Castleford Tigers defence close to their own try line. And Hastings to Josh Jones. They like that one. Jones back on the inside to rumble it through the middle. Tompkins now. Here is Dudson. Dudson scenting the try line. He's stopped just short. Tompkins away. Hastings. Quick hands. Oh, Wellham couldn't take the pass. And it's Truman who picks it up.
Billy takes that pass. It's a 3-on-1 if he doesn't go through himself over on the right-hand side for Salford. All eyes are on Jackson Hastings. Whenever he gets the ball, you can see people flying in Chris Wellham. Well, there's a chance gone missing there.
Led off for the Castleford Tigers there.
They had 4 or 5 chances last week against Wigan, really close to the line, where they made mistakes. You could say that was good defence from Wigan. But a couple of things that went from last week, and Salford win that game.
And that's the point he made, Ian Watson, after the game, didn't he? He talked about them giving that game away. They've got to have better execution when it... Oh, there's a knock-on. He's certainly in the action, isn't he? Jake Truman, he's been pushed over the sideline. He's ended up with the loose ball, and you're right, Bill, it was a low pass. He had to bend that back. He's young enough. He scoops down and just can't quite get to it.
Come on, that's right. No, do what I'm telling you.
And Shane's pass, Truman couldn't clutch it. The reigning young player of the year and nominated for this year's award as well.
Find them, boys.
So it's Salford's head and feet just inside their own half.
Back it, hold it, 1. Go kick
Ken Seo playing the ball. Bibby.
Hold this line and wait, please. No, go to.
Another Salford attack coming up. Lee Mossop, grand final winner in 2013 with the Wigan Warriors, was Mossop. Here's Lollahea. Here's Griffin now. Griffin runs into a stern challenge. It's Shane.
Again, Salford, they turn players back inside more than any other team in early stage to come wide. The ball back inside, look, might be 10, 20 minutes. It will eventually create opportunities out wide. But Hastings and Lollahea on the other side continually run across, pass the ball back on the inside.
Well, they're running across now with Lollahea, and it's Wellham who cuts back infield, just as Phil described. That's the 5th tackle, about 10 metres out. It's Lollahea now. Lollahea's little kick. McCarthy chasing and McCarthy getting the try. Or has he? Ben Thaler will go to the video ref. I'm sure he'll check the onside there. But he reckons it is a try.
Just make sure that he's onside, please.
It's very close.
If it's not grounded, can you also
And he grounds the ball, doesn't he?
back as well?
I think he grounds the ball, and I think he anticipates the kick. And they've got some skills, haven't they? We talked about execution. Is there execution? And more importantly, discipline. Does he stay onside, or he's a mile onside?
Two attacking players, haven't he, in Lollahea and Jackson Hastings. And let's give a tap on the back for the effort from Tyrone McCarthy to get through behind the defenders. Does he keep his focus? Does he ground the ball here? I think he does. Yeah. Big start. Needed to score points first, I think, Salford, and they've done that.
But even if Millington's got a hand on that, Stuart, it's McCarthy's try, isn't it?
Yeah, simultaneous touchdown. It's a try to the Salford, but it's a try anyway. I think he got there first.
And so does the video ref, Robert Hicks. And Tyrone McCarthy gets the first points of the night with his third try of this Super League season.
Well, the halfbacks that run will cause you some problems, and Phil talked about those halfbacks dropping players off. They target the same defenders. It's all around the middle. You switch off when the ball goes on the other side of the ruck, and you could see Grant Millington was just really fixed. He was planted. The ball was kicked around where he was, and he hadn't quite focused on it.
Krishnan Inu then, who has been a prolific point scorer since Salford recruited him from the Widnes Vikings. He's got 2 more points to his name, his 80th successful goal kick of this season.
Well, this is clearly a set pattern play. On the last tackle, Salford know to change the angle, to drag the fullback to one direction and kick against the floor that he's running. Jordan Rankin pulled to the right, can't change direction quickly enough. And Tyrone McCarthy's watched the fullback now level, done this several times this season. He runs inside on the right time, and the second chance to make sure they get their first try.
So Salford points on the board after 12 minutes.
A big try, a hard-fought, hard-work try. But in players like Mark Flanagan and Tyrone McCarthy, 2 players who almost share the role, they've got players who will do that uncomfortable work, roll the sleeves up, do the defence. Tyrone McCarthy so far has done more defence than the rest of his team, but he still manages to orchestrate what Tuilolohe is thinking in that moment, in that clutch moment.
Castleford penalised.
Well, they're getting the rewards, Bill, for doing the hard work, aren't they? There's no big shifts really getting out of trouble. It's hard graft from the likes of Mossop and the likes of Gil Dudson, who just set the line, go as hard as they can and try and land on the front.
First penalty of the game goes in favour of the Red Devils. And their supporters have brought their voices with them tonight. They're going to make themselves heard. It's going to be some atmosphere, this one, with all these Castleford Tigers fans having journeyed as well. Here is McCarthy. And now Logan Tompkins. Little darting run from Logan Tompkins. Lollahea now. Wellham once more. Shane once more doing the tackling. Tompkins. Dudson will drive it in, and massive charge from Dudson there. Flung himself, and Watts was flying in the opposite direction. Here is Hastings. Hastings, lovely ball to Bibby. And Bibby, can he get it down?
That's good defence, that, is it? Does he manage to keep him up and get him out of the field of play? I think it's Greg Milliken. Well, the referees give a try. There'll be a big effort from Bibby if he gets this ball down, because there's some strong defence from Milliken.
The quality ball from the halfback, Jackson Hastings, wasn't it? This is just an arm wrestle at this point here. He's got the ball close tight to his chest.
Oh, look at that.
Well done, Greg Milliken. He's lost that ball as well, hasn't he?
Well,
I thought it was really strong defence.
That's outstanding, that.
From Greg Milliken. Although when he got up, he went and headed towards the sticks as though it was a try. And the ball from Jackson Hastings to hit Bibby was effortless.
Is there enough to disallow this try?
Well, does it hit the floor? That's the question we've got to ask.
It does eventually.
Well, I think you can see that his right arm comes away from the ball, but does he grab it with his left hand at the same time? He's lost possession. Oh, he's still got it there, hasn't he?
Try.
He's still got it when it goes to the ground.
But where's his...
Well, we know the ball's been grounded.
Is he over that sideline?
Yeah, well, he's going to try and put this jigsaw together. He knows the ball's been grounded. He just needs to see what happens to the feet now. Does he touch the touch line or the touching goal line before that ball goes down? See, he's still up at that point.
And what is if it's simultaneous?
And that's what it's going down. Well, if it's simultaneous in this instance, the touch line is king.
But the referee's awarded a try.
Well, he's awarded a try, so he's got to have definite proof. So I think it's before that, and I think he gets the ball down before he hits the touching goal line. So I don't think it's a case of simultaneous. I think that ball's down.
Well, this is the beauty of watching it frame by frame. If this is a game I'm watching at Waterhead on a Sunday morning between under-16s, you'd scratch that off, but
it's not giving us anything though, this, Barry, is it?
Are you giving it or not? I'm confused. You were giving it before.
Yeah, the referee, the angle, it's not telling us anything we didn't know when the referee signalled a try.
It's a try.
Try, Stuart?
Absolutely. Ball's down before he touches the touching goal line.
Well, the Castleford Tigers players are grouped for a restart on the 20. I think they are going to be disappointed because Robert Hicks has made his mind up. And he agrees.
Even the Salford players were lined up, Bill. It's a wonderful pass, wasn't it? Yeah. Tuilola here sets up the first try for Tyrone McCarthy. And then Jackson Hastings over on the left side. He gives Jay Bibby, an impressive player who we mentioned last week. He's over to Wigan for 2020. The chance to score the try. He gets a little bit of a slice of luck. I could make an argument for that going both ways, but he got the try, the second try, and will 10 become 12.
Jake Bibby tries in 5 of the last 6 games now. And Chris Naninu from wide out to try and extend this early Salford advantage. And what a kicker he is turning out to be. A 77% success rate with the boot, Chris Naninu.
Well, the only problem for Salford here now is that they get too confident and complacency creeps in. It's the second try inside 15 minutes. Twice before at home this season, we've turned up expecting Salford to perform a win. He shakes his head, he doesn't agree with that decision. And Salford at home against Hull KR in May and against Huddersfield in July. Teams that they were expected to beat, they underperformed over the course of 80. It can't be the case tonight. They have to keep the foot full down on that accelerator.
Wait!
Hard luck on Greg Minikin that was, because that was a fantastic effort to deny Jake Bibby.
It was a huge effort, and defence like that normally wins your games, but the referee was confident that he'd got the ball down before he went over the sideline. So, and you know what, someone's season's obviously going to end tonight, and neither coach wants it to be theirs. Salford, what a remarkable year that they have had, and you can even say the same about Castleford, missing 8 front line players and had injuries, but this Salford side just seemed to get better and better every time you watch them.
Here is Tyrone McCarthy, a grand final winner back in 2014. That was with Northern Pride in the Queensland Cup. Now he's getting closer to another grand final appearance. Rankin comes for that kick, manages to guide it back towards his own try line.
Well, he's been on top of his game, hasn't he, Jordan Rankin? Focuses on trying to catch that ball, but again, it's a big game. Pressure that players will feel will be different coming into this game than going into a normal league game that they've played.
There is Minikin. James Clare now. And that's a penalty to the Castleford Tigers, their first of the game.
And the Cas fans absolutely love that. The referee, Ben Thaler, says that Lee Mossop, I think it's Griffin, are offside when they go up there, and this Cas side will score some points if they can promote the ball, if they can get defenders interested. Truman normally so strong over on that left-hand side.
They haven't been prolific try scorers this season, the Castleford Tigers. 6th on the try chart with 111 touchdowns in 29 rounds. And that's the lowest try return for the Tigers in 7 seasons under Darryl Powell. Here is Massey. They could do with some tries here tonight. Here is Matautia. Evans has got his hands full with the Castleford Tigers #1. McShane's pass finds Nathan Massey. Massey legs driving closer to that try line. Salford Red Devils in front of their supporters, manning the barricades. Here is Truman now. Truman's pass finds Oliver Holmes.
Truman was trying to line up Holmes on Tui Lolohea then, trying to get a one-on-one close to the try line. And what's kept Castleford up here and challenging for the playoffs and to get to Old Trafford is, as like Phil said before the game, the last 6 games they've only conceded a total of 11 tries. Defensively, they've been absolutely bang on. Offensively, they need to improve.
George Griffin now. More Super League action coming up tomorrow night. The playoff semi-final between the two sides favoured to be at the grand final. But it's tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena for that playoff semi-final. The winners do go through to Old Trafford. The losers will play the winners of this game here tonight at the AJ Bell Stadium.
You know, that was a quality offload. That really encapsulates the philosophy of Salford. To me, they've got the right balance of structure and that ad hoc rugby league that really causes defences issues.
Tompkins, Lolohea. Oof, that's an almighty boot. And well claimed by Greg Eden.
I think that's the 4th time the kicker of the ball from Salford has just put it as high as possible, and then the chasers are up quick. They're not necessarily going to kick it into the pockets, into the corners, looking for territory. They're making it a real challenge.
Chase Blair, good strength from the former Melbourne Storm centre. Up to the halfway line. Almost a quarter of the game gone as Truman tries to run foot Salford's defence, but Welland was equal to that challenge. Here is Liam Watts now. Watts. Always looking for an offload is Liam Watts. Now Matautia on the last. Hoists that kick high. Evans claims it, comes for it, goes backwards. Still going backwards. McShane nicely into the hands of Mossop. And now Bibby.
He's just loitering with intent, then the prop forward. Lee Mossop just behind Paul McShane, a nice little ball to take, and some of the big guns for Salford down on the haunches. It's a fast pace, this game.
Hastings loves to be in the thick of it.
Go.
Josh Jones.
There you go. That's what he's good at. He rides tackles, beats off defenders, lands on his front and plays the ball quick.
Off to Hull FC next season. Jones. Here is Logan Tompkins from McCarthy's offload. Now Lolohea across the field. Lets the pass go to Welland. Welland just inside Castleford Tigers' 40-metre line. Dudson very quickly closed down. That's the 5th tackle. Tompkins. Here is Lolohea again going to the air, looking for the sidelines, finding it. Trying to pin Greg Eden, I think.
It's relentless, isn't it, from Salford? They're finishing the sets well, they get into the kick. They're kicking the ball high in the air. They've got a high completion rate as well. Not making mistakes. So you look at what Lolohea and you look at what Jackson Hastings are playing off. They're playing off decent sets of 6. They're playing off good field position and exactly the right area of the field where they want to be.
So Castleford Tigers will have to work this ball from deep in their own half, and Salford going to make them work very hard. Here is Millington. Mossop. Hastings there as well.
Well, the other thing that Castleford are going to have to do, Bill, is take some risks. Now, obviously, they're 12 points behind at this stage in the game. I think one of the advantages of having Greg Eden out there, he is a risky player, isn't he, both with the ball and without it. And I think that I understand the reason why they put him out there. They need to see if he can come up with the magic. You're not going to get to the grand final from 5th position unless you take some risks and have a little bit of luck. That's what the Tigers need right now.
Well, they've got Adam Milner on the field now. 22 minutes on the clock. Milner puts in his first appearance of the night as Matautia puts in the kick. And it's Evalds, the Salford fullback, who brings it back.
They need some controlled aggression here, and they need to win the floor in the battle above the ground before they turn the ground. Again, it's the offload.
It's Inu again. And this time it's gone backwards, says the referee.
You know, some players have just got it in the DNA. Whenever they get their arms free, they just push the ball.
He was lucky to get away with that one.
Yeah, and I'm sure Ian Watson saying, look, in those sort of situations, just tuck it under your wing and take the tackle.
Proved costly last week at Wigan.
He did, but he set up a wonderful try at St Helens when he offloaded at 9 levels, ran 90 metres. So you've got to take the good with the bad. You can't always remember the ones. Here's another offload from Salford. This time they've lost the ball.
And Castleford have got it back. Referee waves play on. Good defence from the Tigers in the middle of the field. And now Rankin will try and spot a try opportunity. Rankin has done that. Rankin all the way. Evalds chasing and Evalds catching. What a tackle! What a tackle!
Well,
Niall Evalds.
He has scored 27 tries this year in all competitions. Niall Evalds. He's just saved one that could help them get through to the next round of the playoffs. Quality tackle, and that coach Ian Watson will be so proud of his players. Darryl Powell knowing that it's an opportunity from a player, like I said before, on top of his game, Jordan Rankin. When he takes on the line, he is always going to trouble people. Beats Wellham, beats Griffin for pace, but can't beat Evalds.
For all money, this is a try for Castleford Tigers. It came off a forced offload from Tyrone McCarthy. He finds a bit of space, thinks he's going to aim for the corner. That is sensational defence from Niall Evalds.
And that has shocked the Castleford Tigers supporters, who were celebrating on that side of the field, urging Jordan Rankin on, and they were just about celebrating until Evalds came powering across the field.
Hey, let's be honest, it probably shocked Jordan Rankin. He thought that when he'd gone through Griffin and past Wellham, he thought that was going to be a try in the corner.
Could be a crucial intervention. It was a crucial intervention. Jordan Rankin, close to his 11th try of the season, but Evalds had other ideas.
Ooh, they're up quick now, aren't they, Castleford Tigers? I think Adam Milner has joined the field. See Daniel Smith there, number 34. Let's pick this defence up. Try and catch them at the ad line, restrict those metres and grind our way back into this game.
Lollahea puts the kick in. And it's James Clare who collects for the Castleford Tigers.
I'd be thinking, if I'm a Salford player here, look, Castleford are rattled. We've saved a try. We're going to have to word a few tackles because they're going to have some lone rangers flying out the line, trying to dislodge the ball, trying to whack us as soon as we get hold of the ball. We've just got to tough out this next 5 or 10 minutes.
Here is Greg Minikin, one of several Castleford players named in the England night squad. Daniel Smith now came to the Castleford Tigers from the Huddersfield Giants this season and has really been a good recruit. Played in 18 of the 22 games since he's been here. Now Truman. Logan Tompkins keeping a close eye on the 20-year-old. Rankin puts that kick up. Evalds is underneath it.
Well, a kick at the end of the set from Castleford Tigers. Realistically, they're handing the ball over to Salford Red Devils, trying to make them work hard off their own line, but there was 1 or 2 offloads in that last set of 6, and you talked about Darryl Powell's side not scoring as many sides. I reckon that will come down to the personnel. The smart coach of the year is Darryl Powell. He's changed the way that his side has played. At this point in the year, they'll have to change again, and it might be on a certain point in the game, 20-25 minutes, offloads start coming. And Phil's got a fair point there. 12 points down on the scoreboard. They need to force the issue.
Here is Hastings as he thumps that ball downfield towards Rankin, who waits for it. Salford on their own pitch are really a very tough prospect. They've lost only 1 of the last 7 here at the AJ Bell. Castleford have coughed up possession and they've gifted an opportunity for Jackson Hastings, but Hastings' pass finds Matautia, and that was an opportunity gone begging. And then there's a penalty for the Castleford Tigers.
It's a massive opportunity, a massive moment. We talk about Evans saving a try. Castleford have perhaps just saved the match. They're desperate, they're down on their knees here trying to grab their breath in. Adam Walker is who on a one-on-one steal according to referee, pulls the ball free, fires Hastings. He doesn't think he'll make the line, and the pass doesn't make his teammate. Bibby can't convert it. The ball ripped free there from Jordan Rankin. I think it goes forward, but the referee's unsighted in that position. He waves play on.
One movement! Josh! Ready, boys, go!
On Sunday evening at 6:30, big game in the Betfred Championship, semi-final between Toulouse and Featherstone. The flat cappers against Toulouse Olympique. And whoever wins that will take their place in the £1 million game, which you can see on Saturday, October the 5th at 7 p.m. on Sky Sports Arena. Toronto await. Here is Millington to Matautia. Matautia gets the pass away on. A pass in the end goes straight into the hands of Chris Naninu. And Liam Watts furious with himself.
Well, they're pushing it on the cast again. Look at them flying out the line. They're cutting across their own plays. They are going to be creating space on the edge. If there's a little tip on from Salford, they will get you. And Oliver Holmes cutting across Paul McShane, running across his defender and just creating that space out wide. Salford have a bit more depth and the playmakers spot it. They could get burnt.
Greg Burke on the field for Salford. The one change in their side that performed against Wigan. Burke back in for Lannan. Penalty goes against the Castleford Tigers.
You'd go for 2 points here, wouldn't you, if you're Salford?
And you've got Chris Naninu in your ranks. Yeah.
Good target, just walking across now. You know that this will put more pressure on Castleford. And Paul McShane knows that he's in a bit of a battle with Ian Watson's men. Clever player that he is, knows that the defensive line needs to move up, with some aggression and some speed, but work together. And nice and calm and composed. Ian Watson just talking with Mark Flanagan and the substitutes down on the sideline.
And that could be a key part of this game. I always think Salford are better when Joy Lussick is on the field. There's a bit more happening around the play of the ball. They have two different roles. Logan Tompkins sets the play, sets the foundations, and Joy Lussick combines really well with his great friend Jackson Hastings.
So Chris Naninu, 2 from 2 so far tonight. And this one from a bit of a distance, but the way he's been kicking this season, 80 from 104, 81 I beg your pardon, from 104 attempts for Inu. That's what he does. Salford extend their lead 14-0. Half an hour gone at the AJ Bell Stadium.
Well, he's deadly, Chris Naninu, and some more notes going in the pad for Ian Watson at half-time. They'll be made up with the way that his side have played. They've respected the position that they've been on the field, respected the ball, been really disciplined in the performance, getting through some tough challenges from Castleford, not reacting. They have been legal as well, by the way, Castleford's tackles. They're trying to intimidate the ball carrier, but they're not having any joy.
Here is Adam Walker now. He made his Salford debut against the Castleford Tigers in March when he came back after his drugs ban. Walker did, given a chance by the Salford Red Devils. Lee Mossop now. Third season with the Red Devils. Captain this year, Mossop. Josh Jones. And Salford working their way towards the halfway line. 4 tackles gone. Here is Greg Burke. Oh, Burke leaves a Castleford player on his backside. It's the 5th tackle, so Hastings fires it downfield once again. Rankin underneath it. Looking again, Jordan Rankin.
Well, it's working for them. What they're doing, rolling forward, getting out of trouble, getting to the kick. Nice defensive attitude. Again from Salford.
Eden gets the offload away, though, to James Clare.
Well, they've got some speed and they don't want the likes of James Clare or Greg Eden getting into space.
And Shane. It's Truman now. Truman to Chase Blair. Wallahayer and Wellham doing the tackling. Wellham keeping an eye on the referee, see how far he can push that. Holmes now. 4 tackles gone. The ball with Truman. Truman into the middle of the field to Matt Cook. Cook was turning, looking for somebody who might be in support, but Jones able to stop him offloading, and then Jones intervening and denying Truman possession.
Well, Truman was setting up on the left-hand side because Paul McShane wasn't behind the ruck. They get the ball back here now because the ball was knocked down by Josh Jones. But Truman, he goes in, so he's not going to be kicking. He's looking to pass the ball to Metaltia. The extra effort from Jones to get out, try and knock the arm free. Well, unfortunate for him and his teammates, he makes contact with the ball. Another set of 6 for them, and this is exactly what Darryl Powell needs. He needs Truman, Metaltia, Rankin, McShane. Those 4 key players all playing well in this area of the field.
Castleford Tigers need to capitalise on this opportunity. Half-time approaching. They trail 14-0. Salford really in control of this playoff tie at the moment. Daniel Smith with a lunge towards that Salford line. McShane gets the pass away. Milner, Truman now onto Rankin. Rankin trying to find a way through, and there was obstruction there. Says Ben Thaler.
And normally where you get this attacking shape right, you're looking to isolate defenders, and when you go through, Blair's got to make sure that he goes through, he doesn't make contact with Lollahy. It looks like a lazy dummy run. Well, I more or less say so. I'll go through for you.
Plays are drilled now. Once the ball looks like it's not coming to you, get through the line and don't touch a defender, or that is exactly what happens.
Great opportunity squandered by the Castleford Tigers with 5 minutes to go, just about until half-time. They could have done with capitalising on that opportunity, but instead the ball is in the hands of the Salford Red Devils. Tompkins, and here is Walker.
There's a good atmosphere here tonight. I'd go as far as to say this is the best atmosphere we've had here at this stadium.
Well, the Castleford Tiger supporters haven't had a lot to sing about. They thought they had when Rankin was heading for the try line, till Niall Evalds intervened, and that's the best opportunity they've had, really. Hastings then kicks towards the posts. Rankin comes and claims it, but then he's going back towards those posts. Really has been textbook stuff, really, from Salford. NRL playoff action tomorrow, Canberra against South Sydney. Sky Sports Arena 10:45 for that one, and 10:45 on Saturday on Arena for Roosters against Melbourne Storm. And here is Oliver Holmes, the winners of those 2 games through to the grand final. Winners of this one through to the grand final qualifier.
Well, good work from Paul McShane from dummy half, and a nice little offload to Truman.
Is Metaltia, and it's Metaltia's turn to leather that ball into the sky, and Evalds comes for it.
Well, no real pressure on Niall Evalds when he catches that ball. He's not looking at a cast jersey coming towards him, unsettling him like every time that Salford seemed to. There's a lot of kick pressure.
I still maintain that Castleford Tigers are only 1 or 2 passes. When I talk about passes, I'm not talking before the line, I'm talking through the line, of making those breaks and possibly posting some points. They're starting to find the rhythm now.
Well, here is Josh Jones. Still an air of tension around this ground. Salford by no means home and dry here. Hastings, Evalds got the pass, but Daniel Smith with a superbly timed tackle. Hastings lobs the kick then up into the air, and James Clare claims it.
A lot of speed in that play then when they turned it back to the middle of the field around the ruck with Niall Evalds hit a strong line. Tries to get through, but you're right, Dan Smith, if he switches off here, they concede another try.
They needed that. They didn't need to see Niall Evalds disappearing into the distance with half-time approaching.
Move! Ready, George, ready for.
Here is Greg Eden, McShane now. Daniel Smith.
5, move, Greg!
Salford's defence, resilience. That's the 5th tackle. Castleford Tigers still in their own half.
Okay.
And Truman kicks into a bit of open space, but Salford's fullback comes across to claim it. Evalds then counters.
They're looking for distance and looking to trap Salford in the corner instead of going high in the air and looking to force the edit. They're trying to restrict those metres.
This is the impact Jackson Hastings has. Look, stood behind the play of the ball. He's doing the talking, he's directing here. Sometimes the player's impact is the voice, not necessarily just the actions that we see on the field.
Pushing forward, go.
Played more minutes on the field than any other player in Super League, and he's had a massive impact. I think the confidence that he gives to his teammates by simply being on the pitch. Look, he wants the ball here. He senses a chance to score again before half-time.
Inu, in fact, from the sidelines, is suggesting that it's in his range, but Jackson Hastings decided otherwise.
2 minutes to go, you've got that 2-point advantage for the 2 tries. You just try and keep the pressure on here, Bill.
Well, last week from this situation, he had a couple of runs in, and then Jackson Hastings, if you remember, against Wigan, turned back in, and he ran at the line, scored against the Warriors. Is that on the cards in this set?
Here is Josh Jones now. Into the middle of the field. Bulky figure, Josh Jones. Takes some stopping. Hastings. Greg Burke. Good leg drive from him. A few metres away from that Castleford Tigers line, and Logan Tompkins finds Jackson Hastings. Hastings onto Evalds, but Minikin comes out to meet him and makes the tackle. Good work from Greg Minikin there. Logan Tompkins. Here's Hastings. Hastings again goes to that left edge. Evalds' little kick, too strong.
And they go back to the left-hand side because you're right. Good timing in defence from Greg Minikin. They thought he wasn't quite set. That's the reason why Jackson Hastings shapes to go right, comes back left, but just too much on that kick then.
Final minute, the first 40 then. It's been very much Salford's first half. They lead 14-0. Go on, Barry.
It's been a complete performance from Salford. Red Devils were right to focus on what they've done with the ball, completing night over 80% with the ball, but what they've done defensively, I know it doesn't always tell the full story, but they've missed half the amount of tackles, and it's extra efforts, marker tackles, chasing teams down. That's what Ian Watson will be saying to his side. Keep up both sides of the ball.
Hardly put a foot wrong of the Salford Red Devils. Here is Chase Blair. And Castleford Tigers are going to have to come out in the second half and try and find a way through this Salford defence. Evalds waited for his moment, made the tackle on Clare, and just like everything else that Salford have done in the first 40 minutes, it was disciplined, well-timed, and they, as I said, have hardly put a foot wrong. Just the one threat on their try line when Jordan Rankin seemed to be heading for the whitewash, but Niall Evalds denied him. Otherwise, with tries from McCarthy and Bibby and 3 from Krishnan Inu, Ian Watson's side are on course for that qualifying semi-final next week, because they, at the break, lead by 14 points to 0, and their best season for a while could get better yet. At the moment, because they are in the box seat, and Darryl Powell and his coaching team are really going to have to come up with something special in the second half if they are going to wrest this game from the grip of the Red Devils. There's the smell of success on the banks of the Ship Canal.
Something. They did a decent job, didn't they, in the first half? They went after Castleford up front. You only have to look at the stats for Millington, McShane, and Watts 30 tackles, Millington 28, McShane 27. Didn't take any of the traffic from them early on. Took a bit of energy out of them as well when they had the ball. Not quite as destructive as what they normally are.
Move, Logan!
It's Castleford Tigers then in possession at the start of the second half, and Salford in their first ever home playoff tie, looking for a victory that would take them closer still to Old Trafford. It's been a fantastic season for the Red Devils, third place finish, and it could get better. Here is Evalds underneath that ball. Opportunity early in the second half to get the half-time news. Let's go down to the sidelines and Jenna Brooks.
Thanks very much, Bill. I spoke to Ian Watson. He said that he's very happy, particularly with that 80% completion rate. He has asked his players to stick to the process. He's expecting a big start from this Castleford side in this second half. He's just wanting his players to keep it as simple as possible. Daryl Powell, his message is just to build. Disappointed with that first half. He says that they're nowhere where they need to be. He has asked them to spark up, find momentum, and there is absolutely no exception. They have to score first.
So, Daryl Powell throwing the gauntlet down to his players. Eaton. The ball went backwards, said referee Ben Thaler.
Well, a decent kick from them. Turns Greg Eden around. Even like the start of the second half, what they did, instead of going for distance with the kick-off, they went short. They want the ball back. They are in an attacking frame of mind, Salford.
They're in a confident frame of mind. One defeat in the last 9 games, Salford. Mind you, Castleford 6 wins from 9. So both sides going into this playoff series in good heart. But the intensity from this Salford side is evident once again there as Ollie Holmes very nearly taken to the sidelines. Rankin's kick goes straight up into the night sky and then bounces towards Evalds, and Evalds goes to ground, avoids the challenge of Matautia.
Well, not getting the distance on the kick, again feeling a bit uncomfortable, not being allowed to place it where they want it, and some desperation from Caswich. The coach, Daryl Powell, would like then just making sure that the teammate didn't get pushed over the sideline, would have turned the ball over on halfway, which would have been an easy set of 6 then for Salford, where at least they've got to work the ball upfield from in their own half here.
14 busloads of Castleford Tigers supporters, plus plenty more who've made the journey, but they really haven't had an awful lot to cheer about so far. We've seen Salford very much in charge here as Lollahea does what he's done most of the night, thumps that ball high, and Eden comes and collects it. Eden gets the offload away to Truman. Now James Clare, a little skip, and then he takes on Hastings, takes on Josh Jones.
Well, they've got nothing to lose now, have they, Castleford? They can go into contact early on and look to offload the ball, whereas Salford 14 points up, they don't want to be offloading the ball and making mistakes in their own half, but Castleford need that platform lane. They need to play that second phase rugby.
McShane, Truman, Holmes. Here is Chase Blair. Blair skipping back infield. Griffin makes the tackle. Now here is Milner. Milner burst of pace from him, and he was looking for somebody on his inside. Nobody there, but here on the last is McShane. McShane's little kick, and it's Evalds again.
That's a good point, that. Jordan Rankin came in, I think he was tackle 3, carted the ball up. That meant that it was difficult for him to support the player. Matt Cook out of the line, trying to look for the mistake. It's a missed kick at best from Paul McShane. The Salford defenders, they put that solid line in front of him.
It's the little things not quite happening for the Castleford Tigers so far tonight.
And normally those kicks do come off for Paul McShane. We complimented him last week at Warrington, how good he was so close to the line. His delicate kicks through the line.
Here's Josh Jones. Logan Tompkins now just inside Castleford Tigers territory, and then the kick comes in, and it's another teasing one, and Eaton is again underneath it.
They're making players like Greg Eaton run for the ball. I'd like to think that both sides are doing it, but I think it's Salford Red Devils who are doing it better at the minute. It's high, it's hanging, and those players who are having to run 10 or 15 metres are under pressure as soon as they get to the ball.
3.
Well, here is Jordan Rankin.
Wait here, please. 3. Go.
On the 40-metre line in his own half, Matautia, and here is Matt Cook now. Plenty of player experience for him as well. The kick, CO able to trap that kick from McShane.
And it drops to his feet, to Ken Seo's feet, but doesn't turn them around. It wasn't really a kick that puts Ken Seo under pressure, because they haven't gone for distance. They've given up probably 20-30 metres.
Wellham now.
This is a different tactic. There you see Logan Tompkins. Remember the last 10 games, he's played for 30 minutes, then left the field and been replaced by Joey Lussick.
Is there a knock on here from
the
Wellham?
mistake here, hasn't he, at the play of the ball.
Just loses control of it while he's trying to play it. Not gained his feet, dropped the ball. There's one or two things for the referee to look at. Might just be something that Castleford Tigers,
Comes up from Stuart Cummins.
who territorial,
Marking your homework tonight.
he's normally frowning at me. What, hey, listen, what does he know?
Here is Greg Eden now then. That little knock-on gives the Castleford Tigers possession inside Salford territory, but this Salford defence is very difficult to crack at the moment.
Yeah, really strong. They're strong right across the board, aren't they? You've got to make sure that you're talking, communicating to the next person next to you. And Matt Cook, he looks to offload that ball, and fortunate to get it back then.
Matautia's short pass finds Millington on the charge, but again, the tacklers are there for Salford. Josh Jones it was down low. Here is Truman now. Truman delays the pass to Holmes, and Holmes trying to smuggle that ball out, but he's prevented from doing that. It's a fifth tackle. McShane puts the kick in, the ball ricocheting, and it's in Salford hands. And
offside.
That's offside.
Yeah, offside. They said, Bill, the ball ricochets from a couple of Salford defenders. Was it Mark Flanagan stood in an offside position?
Daniel Smith not offside, 34 in front of the kicker when he kicked the ball and within 10.
Well, it could possibly have been very difficult for the referee there. The clear penalty was the one that is awarded.
And it's awarded to Castleford right on that Salford Red Devils try line. What better opportunity do they need? Tackles in the bag, and Salford pinned on their own try line, and the Castleford Tigers supporters sensing that, urging their side on. McShane's short ball, and it was Millington, I think, and they're offside again as Salford.
They give the penalty away. Grant Millington going for the crash ball. Can't quite get over. Picked up an injury as well. I think he was doubled over, the Salford defender.
Ben Thaler has just whacked Jackson Hastings on the chin as he signalled the offside. Here is Milner. Into the second half here then, and opportunity for Matautia. Matautia's pass, but Salford keeping their shape as Minikin was probing. It was Tompkins and Flanagan doing the tackling there. Here is Milner. Milner finds Daniel Smith. Smith straightening up under those posts. Just 3 or 4 metres away from that try line. Golden opportunity, and Truman almost through, but it was Griffin's tackle. Great tackle down low from George Griffin. Short pass. Milner trying his hand now, but again Salford are equal to it. That's 5 tackles gone. The kick surely coming from Matautia now. No, they're going to run it. It's on to Rankin. Rankin trying to keep it alive. Minikin now does put boot to ball. And Inu, can he get out of trouble? He can, with ease.
Well, they're offside here. They get a penalty, Salford, so they've gained more metres. But that Salford defence is really strong. You don't see any of the players over-chasing. The hips are square, the shoulders are square. They're not facing towards the sideline. So that means that when they're in contact, they are dominant.
And Chris Naninyu, when he gets this ball, he hears the referee say, "You're offside," and he runs straight for it. A smart piece of play there by the centre.
So Castleford once again not being able to crack this Salford defence. Joey Lussick is on. He's been ever present in all 29 Super League games of Joey Lussick this season.
Logan Tompkins has had a big 50 minutes, hasn't he, defensively, bringing the forwards onto the ball, controlling everything that's going on in the centre of the field, and now you've got the speed of Lussick to exploit some space.
Here is George Griffin.
The thing about Lussick, he scored 12 tries. There isn't a forward in Super League scored more tries than him this year. He's been fantastic at getting across the line. Well, Castleford are trying their best to do that now.
Lollahea's kick, not the best, straight into the arms of Chase Blair. And here is Greg Eden now. That's a rare mistake on the kick from the Salford Red Devils. They've been pretty good in that department tonight. Here's Milner. Lollahea trying to atone for that. Makes the tackle.
3, go.
Here is Liam Watts.
Well, just back onto the field now, Liam Watts, and all they need one try. It's Castleford time. They've got enough strike to do that.
Milner. Milner's dummy, and Griffin, I think it was waiting for him.
What a shot from Griffin.
Matautia lofts that kick, and it's Chris Naninu who comes for it.
Leisurely collects it, doesn't he? He doesn't see that Adam Milner, does it? He's looking to pass, looking to see who's ready for the pass, and he gets absolutely bushwhacked.
Last week, Griffin, 45 tackles.
Good listening, Liam, good.
When they played against Wigan. What about that one, though?
3, move, Paul! Where is 3?
Do you know what? You love it, don't they, when they put the bodies on the line and they just get up, hit on suspicion. Physical game, this rugby league.
Move, Paul! Wait with me.
And the Salford Red Devils dominating the physical battle on this occasion. Here is Lee Mossop now.
They are physical, but I think it's because their energy is good, and that means they played the game in the most economic use of their tank. Their energy tank looks nice and full. Look at the chase, look at the collective line. When they're not working, they're trying to lighten the load of the ball carrier.
We're here, boys. Go, 1.
Rankin. Tigers supporters a bit subdued at the moment. There's no sign really of their side finding a way through, although maybe they have now with Truman.
It seems like that's the only thing that's going to break them down, the speed of the rut, the offload at the line.
Matautia and Millington doing the runaround. Here is Minikin now. Minikin looks to the referee and does play on. He was looking for the OK.
He wants to give it to Matautia, but he was organising the next play.
Here is Watts now. Watts, Millington. Millington manages to get the pass away to Daniel Smith. This is what the Tigers have got to do, really. They've got to try and run the Salford Red Devils around a bit. Here is McShane, run around with Milner. McShane's kick, again it ricochets and it comes up for Salford once more. Sometimes that ball would bounce kindly for Castleford. It's just not happening.
Yeah, well, scored a try off a short kick last week from Paul McShane. Normally so dependable. When he gets his boot to the ball, he just can't get it through. But again, you've got to credit the defence. They've got numbers around that ruck area.
Strikes me that Castleford have tried to speed the game up, haven't they? Play it faster than their opponents here for 13, almost 14 minutes. We're getting towards here now, and they've got to try to do that because that's how hard it's going to be. Salford's defence has been fantastic. Every player seems to be as committed at saving tries as they are interested in scoring them tonight, and that's the mentality you have to have if you want to progress to the big game at Old Trafford.
Josh Jones, another big effort from the Salford Red Devils second rower. Eden is under that kick, and now it's with Rankin. It's a good chase again.
There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go, is there? Even though the Castleford player that caught that ball passed it 15 metres inside, there were still defenders in front. The line is set. And what we got there, tackle 2, almost tackle 3. They're all back ready, looking and hungry for work, Salford.
It's Castleford in possession on the halfway line with Chase Blair. Truman. 3 tackles gone this set. Daniel Smith onto Millington. Jackson Hastings to make the tackle there. Minikin. Hastings again pursuing him. The ball goes to ground. The referee says play on.
Well, it's very passive from Castleford. It's one side to the other.
On the last, the kick is high. Inu underneath it. Oh, Inu caught high from Daniel Smith. The referee didn't see anything wrong with that. I'm not sure Chris Naninu would agree.
He's copped something, hasn't he, Chris Naninu? former New Zealand international. He uses his footwork, tries to beat him. He loses his footing. Look at him, he just goes down, and there is contact on the shoulder. It slips up to around his neck.
Yeah, I mean, it would normally be a penalty. Referee's incited. The video referee, remember, cannot come in unless he thinks it's a sin bin or a dismissal, and I don't think that is.
No, this is one of those that I don't like to see. I think he sniffs a penalty. You know, he thinks if I stay down, people watch it enough times, they'll see what they want to see. I know it's easy set up here, but I think you should just play the ball and get on with the game. Daniel Smith didn't do any damage.
The rain coming down again at the AJ Bell Stadium, but it's not going to dampen the spirits of these Salford Red Devils supporters. Spirits in the Castleford camp a bit gloomy at the moment.
They've been challenged all over the park, and they can't restrict the meters, they can't deal with the kicking game, and Darryl Powell knows that time's running out, just 25 minutes to go to keep the season alive.
Well, his penalty is the significant one, isn't it? Everyone dreams at 12-0, you've got a chance, we get one try, we can score again and get two. But that 14, I think, is a mental millstone really now for the Castleford side to overcome. They have to score 3 times here to progress through at the very least, and that's hoping that they can stop Salford scoring in the remaining 20-plus minutes.
Here's Joey Lussick, driven back by the Castleford Tigers defenders. Doesn't like what he was on the end of.
Big tackle from Jackson O'Neill, yeah, just onto the field. Picks him up and drives him backwards. The young Cumbrian hooker.
Mossop not able to make much progress either. So Jackson Hastings thumps that one downfield. They allow it to bounce once again, and it's James Clare who's there to claim the ball for the Tigers.
Well, like Barry said, when they are kicking the ball, they're not kicking it and dropping it on the heads. They've got to run for the ball. On occasions like that, they're not taking any chances. They don't want to get it. They shift the ball out to the left-hand side, trying to find that space. But again, Salford defenders are coming from all over the field to help the teammates. Good scrambling.
Oliver Holmes not appreciating Chris Wellham's tackle.
No, and there's something bubbling away. Neither Lollagher or Oliver Holmes like what went on. He rocked the young man's head back, didn't he? Joey Lussick returning fire to Jax O'Neill.
Metautier, Rankin. Well, they need that to the Castleford Tigers. Maybe it is time. It's time for something. It's time for something for the Tigers. Metautier's kick. Wellham sees that one go over the dead ball line.
It's just too long. It's a test of the metal, this, Bill, isn't it, Cass? What they've got.
Dejection on the face of those Tigers supporters, because it's just those little touches. Kicks like that.
Whether the kick's too long or not long enough and they can't get it through the defensive line, and then you've got to look at this Salford side, and they are forcing errors. They're forcing errors. Strong run here from Jake Bibby. And right up the middle of the field, not going away from what's working for them.
First half try scorer, Jake Bibby. That's a penalty.
They're winning it. They're winning the ruck. They're winning the floor. First it's Jake Bibby. Then it's Griffin who gets through. Some interference from Liam Watts, knowing that a couple of play the balls have been too quick. They've been getting marched back down the field, and unfortunately for Watts and his teammates, they've conceded a penalty on halfway.
Castleford's only member of the 2019 Dream Team. Well, this is what's at stake. The grand final at Old Trafford, Saturday, October the 12th. We're on the air from 5 p.m. on Sky Sports Arena for that big match, the conclusion to the season. And if you need information, there you go. Go to superleague.co.uk to find out all about the grand final, October the 12th. Who will be there? Can Salford upset the established order? Well, they've done so this season. They finished third in the table. That rattled a few feathers. They are here. They are here, are the Red Devils. And they're not just making up the numbers. They could be through to that final qualifying game. Another try, and that's going to look an even greater prospect. And they're coming looking for it now. Lussick. Here is Lollagher's kick, and it comes back to him off Rankin. That's the 5th tackle, says the referee. So it's Joey Lussick, and Lussick for a moment thought it had opened up. It might do for Griffin yet, and Griffin can't get it down. That's good defence.
Well, Jordan Rankin underneath Griffin as he tries to power his way over the line, and the Salford side are just, 80 minutes away, plus this 20 to get into Old Trafford, which is incredible.
The Tigers did really well there to stop Lussick. That's his trademark try. Nobody's expecting anything. They think the ball's going to go to some player. He picks up and it goes from close range. And I said before, 12 tries this season. No other hookers really got close to him. Even Darrell Clark, who's faster than him, stronger than him, still only gone over the line 7 times this season. He really has been a very important attacking threat, and they're going to get a chance to attack again now because there's some really committed defence.
I think that's one for the crowd, that. The atmosphere here at the AJ Bell has been sensational, and every time a Castleford player carted the ball forward, they were met with strong defence from the players and a big cheer from the crowd as well. There's the mistake from Greg Eden, but they've completely dominated defensively. I think he's as good as I've ever seen Salford play. And Darrell Powell, ruefully looking on from the sideline, knows a mistake like that just exasperates his side's efforts.
Well, this could be a telling phase of the game into the final quarter. That mistake from Greg Eden, presenting Salford Red Devils with an opportunity to have a go at this Castleford Tigers defence. Don't forget the Ali Gap is the place to go to decide or help decide the man of the match in tonight's game. The panel of rugby league legends will be drawing up their shortlist very shortly. It'll go live from about the 70th minute. The Ali Gap is the place to go. Here is Jackson Hastings. Jones slipping. And then, again, takes it to the Castleford Tigers defence. Lussick goes low. Can't go far. Daniel Smith with the tackle. 4 gone. 5 gone, I beg your pardon. Gil Dudson fancy his chances. No chance for him.
He got a bit carried away then, didn't he, the Welsh international? Gil Dudson, they were setting up over on the right-hand side with Lola here and Hastings. They had something planned out wide with Chris Wellen, and the big prop forward spots the try line, tries to burrow his way over in front of the Salford faithful, and listen to them fans now.
Urging their side on in defence. Boom, they go. Every time a tackle goes in. Restricting the Castleford Tigers' progress. Peter Matautia. Oh, and it works again, and Chase Blair coughs up possession, and Holmes has it back.
Bill, you've got wobbles. Let me tell you hear the crowd behind you. They're just baying for blood. You don't want to be the player that makes a mistake. When you're defending against people who are coming off the try line, and especially when Matautia is not having any joy in the middle, he's trying to play outside here. You've got the wobbles in your mind because you don't want to make the mistake, but you're thinking, we are under pressure here.
Every now and again, something special happens in sport. Leicester City won the Premier League a few years ago, didn't they? And you get a sense here with this Salford support, the Salford feel, the way the team are defending here. There could be something very, very special in rugby league history on the cards if Salford can continue to defend the way they are. They did very well at Wigan, obviously, they lost last week. But they really do have something, the bit between the teeth tonight.
This really is a red uprising this season. 3rd in the table from 8th last year. And now moving closer to Old Trafford. Surely now on course to play whoever loses between Salford and Wigan tomorrow night at their ground.
St Helens and Wigan, you mean, Bill?
St Helens and Wigan. Oh, Wellham's put the ball down. Rare mistake from the Salford Red Devils.
Well, pressure from Greg Eden on Wellham, and that probably just keeps this game alive for them because they were pressing hard, but again, the Salford fans are behind them. They're certainly enjoying themselves here.
And very often you look at the leader, they've got lots of leaders on the field of Salford Red Devils, but Ian Watson deserves a massive amount of credit. I listened to one of his interviews this week. He said the town, the city, is a hard-working, gritty city. We get stuck in and we don't give up. That's exactly what his side do week in, week out.
Well, they're frustrating Castleford here tonight. Holmes looking for the referee to give him some support there, just give him something, just something for the Castleford Tigers to cling on to, some hope. But they're just getting stifled by this Salford Red Devils defence at the moment. That's the 5th tackle. The ball with Rankin to Matautia. Now Chris Clarkson onto James Clare. Clare kicks ball back in field, and it's Evans who comes up with it. In the end, it went backwards. No, it didn't, said the referee. Whose knock-on was it? It was a Salford knock-on.
And when Niall Evans gets the hand to it, when he's challenged in the air by Matautia's got his hand and he's trying to pat it backwards. He's under pressure now, Levels, who knocks the ball on. Look, see, correct call from the referee, Ben Fairley.
This is Elvis time for Castleford. It's now or never, isn't it? If they're going to get back into the game, they have to score in this set. They've got to really start to build, and this is the moment here. They've been good in the pass from scrum plays. Every back lined up.
15 minutes on the clock. This is the chance, maybe, for the Castleford Tigers to break their duck here at the A.J. Bell Stadium. Salford Red Devils in control at the moment, and Castleford heading for elimination unless they can turn the tide here. Jax O'Neill, the young Cumbrian, just 20 years of age. McShane, here is Watts to Matautia, but this defence again from Salford is there to meet him. Minikin is tackled. Clarkson's pass finds Matautia. Watts back into the middle of the field, and Clarkson puts the ball down. It's gone backwards. No, it hasn't, says the referee.
Pressure, that's what they're under. Castleford, they know that they're running out of time. Darryl Powell, Danny Orr, and Chris Clarkson and his teammates. And when he has a look up where Greg Minikin is, Jake Bibby. So defensively, they've been outstanding in this game. Salford. They're forcing Castleford into making errors, and those Cas fans 2 years ago on the verge of getting to the grand final didn't work out for them. They hoped that they could get through this game and get through next week's game and give it another go. But on 66 minutes, doesn't look like they're going to get there.
A well-drilled Salford Red Devils side have given them very little hope. Here is Tyrone McCarthy, just appointed coach of the Salford University Rugby League side. Hoping to coach them to glory, hoping to be part of a Salford Red Devils side that tastes glory this season, maybe. Because the clock is now on their side. The scoreboard's on their side. The side that most people were predicting would be struggling this season. Certainly when you go back to February and people were talking about prospects for sides this season, you weren't thinking of the Salford Red Devils as grand final contenders.
I'll be honest, I didn't expect them to be up there challenging, and I say the season that they've had, they've been brilliant. The way that they've blown teams away, they've ground them down.
I said before the game didn't do that the Salford supporters had a greater chance of going to the moon than they had of going to the grand final before round one. This is absolutely remarkable. It's akin to what Leicester achieved in the Premier League. I say that. They've not quite got there yet. But they've kept their opponents scoreless here for almost 70 minutes. And any team that can do that gives themselves a chance.
Castleford Tigers really running into cul-de-sacs in the closing minutes of this game.
Exactly, absolutely no options. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, they probably do, but they're not being allowed to achieve it.
But they're not being dominant enough. Like, it's okay, when you get a quick play the ball, you've got that decent attacking shape either side of the ruck, whether your threat's going to be Matautia or Truman. And they've just not had that sort of decent threat at all.
An ankle twist. There's been so many different points of attack. We see one of them just limping away there. for the Salford Red Devils, but you struggle to think about the points of attack. Rankin, briefly. Jake Truman, not really. Matauti, not really. Paul McShane has been better this week than last. Well, last week he was excellent. But throughout the team for Salford, whether it's been players bumping off, winning tackles, in the play of the ball, finding offloads, or the creativity, they've been in front in every facet of the game.
I think there's a flare come onto the pitch and Castleford supporters have to remove that. It's the only thing that's stopping Salford progressing through to next week. Just over 10 minutes to go. They're growing in confidence.
And I think you can see the Castleford fans.
He's thrown by one of them.
Well, I think they're pointing at the Cas fans, good on them. They're all pointing at who's threw it on.
But Jordan Rankin has nonchalantly wandered over to remove that before any stewards decided to intervene.
Yeah, well done to those Cas fans as well. What an idiot.
11 minutes on the clock here. Referee Ben Thaler ready to resume proceedings after that brief interruption. And the kick from Jackson Hastings. Jordan Rankin is there. Rankin, if only they'll be thinking, the Castleford Tigers, if only he'd managed to make the try line. If only Niall Evalds hadn't intervened.
Yeah, and that could have changed the game, couldn't it? Their attitude, the confidence that they've had. Jordan Rankin, really strong last week, along with Liam Watts, who offloads the ball. But look at Peter Matauti, he's got the ball, he's looking outside of him, there's nothing on. Looks inside of him, nothing on.
But is it really accurate to say that is their only try-scoring opportunity in 70 minutes?
Yeah,
is that
yes, that can think of.
They've gone for a 40-20 and it's out on the full. That sums up the Castleford Tigers night. Truman misjudging that. Disconsolate Daryl Powell on the sidelines. To lose against Featherstone then. The Betfred Championship semi-final is on Sunday at 6:30 on Sky Sports Arena. Winners through to the £1 million game. Can the Flat Cappers do it in France? You can see it on Sky Sports Arena Sunday 6:30. And that's what is at stake. The £1 million game Saturday, October the 5th, 7 o'clock in Toronto. Sky Sports Arena. Joey Lussick hoping brother Darcy can triumph in that £1 million game, and who knows, they might be going head-to-head in the Super League in 2020.
Well, good luck to anybody that's putting 4 names forward for this match. There's been some outstanding performers,
but presumably in black and red.
Yeah.
Predominantly. It's with Jake Bibby, first half try scorer. And Bibby,
he's had a good game.
Yeah, strong run. Wigan next season, Jake Bibby. Here is Jackson Hastings, likewise a cherry and white player. And Hastings has left it till last to show his class and sew this game up for the Salford Red Devils. Just gliding effortlessly, elegantly through the Castleford Tigers' defence. And Salford are a step closer to Old Trafford.
Well, it's the last game that they will play at home. And the last game that you'll see Jackson Hastings playing in a Salford shirt on this ground. And what a way to finish. He stuck by them last year when he had interest. Daryl Powell knows that they've been beaten by a better side. They had more intent in the runs. They were determined from the start of the game. And this is where he's always dangerous. He spots that. A defender pushes up too far out wide, which then makes his mind up. Ollie Holmes is left clutching at straws, really. He's been isolated. And look at the delight of those Salford fans.
That's a fantastic shot, that. Not only is it a fabulous night for the players, the team, the coach, but those spectators behind the H's to our right there. The hugs and embraces going on behind the sticks. They've waited a long time to see a committed team, a successful team, play in these big games and be victorious. There you go.
And we saw them at Wigan, didn't we, last week? Disappointed with the chances that they missed. Everyone needs a hero, and at the moment Jackson Hastings fulfills that role for so many of these Salford supporters. The conversion here by Kristen Inu attempt will take it to 20, and then there is no coming back.
3 from 3 tonight from the big figure on the wing, Kristen Inu.
Back on.
Another success. Just to rub salt into those Tiger wounds. Ian Watson, calm on the sidelines, but surely bursting with pride from the performance from his side. I mean, still 6 minutes or so to go, but
he's just a dangerous player, isn't he? His all-round game is outstanding. Castle goes short here, desperate to get the ball back, and they do.
It's some achievement to nil a side in the playoffs, isn't it?
Incredible. Just shows how good they are.
Dominant defensively, committed defensively. When they've got near a Castleford player, they've tried to put him on his back, control the speed that they've played the ball. It's almost a perfect performance, this, from Ian Watson's man, in what arguably is their biggest game today.
Well, another big one coming up. They'll travel to play either Salford or Wigan next week. Saints or Wigan has done it again.
You've got Salford on the brain, Bill.
Well, it's hard not to, the way they've really performed. Well, not just here tonight, but even in defeat last week against Wigan. Kick ahead, and can Castleford Tigers at least get on the scoreboard?
Well, they took a great army of support to Wigan last week. Wherever they go next week, I hope they can manage to get everybody's got interested and a passion and a following really of this Salford side here. I mean, what the team have achieved here, it would be great if they can take as many as they possibly can, old and new, to follow this Salford side, because it's been just a special moment. It's a special season for the club.
Here is Jackson Hastings. Josh Jones, wonder if he'll figure in the man of the match nominees.
Both back rows again for me, George Griffin and Josh Jones. That last tackle.
Player down that referee Ben Thaler stopped the clock for. Man of the match nominees are in. Let's have a look. And a full house from Salford. Niall Evalds, Tui Lolohea, George Griffin, and last week's man of the match, Josh Jones. Hard one to pick. The Isle League app is the place to go to register your choice for the Betfred man of the match here at Salford tonight. There you go.
Well, that's a good change, isn't it? No Jackson Hastings in there that's going to be getting the man of the match award.
Peter Matauti getting treatment. Go on.
And I thought that he was outstanding last week, George Griffin, just slightly overshadowed by Josh Jones. So in fairness, I'd like to see George Griffin get it.
Terry?
I think Niall Evalds. I think the way that he's defended, the way he's attacked.
More Super League playoff semi-final action coming up tomorrow night. St Helens against the Wigan Warriors, and Ian Watson will be our guest for that game. 7 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena.
Wait there, boys. Liam, shout them back your side. Wait there. Joey, wait there. We're slow field.
Just under 5 minutes to go. Peter Matauti are actually leaving the fields after that knock.
Wait there, go. James, wait there.
There he is.
Wait there, go, brother.
Tough night for Castleford, tough night for Darryl Powell, who's been up against it. So many injuries, so many key players, week after week, unable to take the field. Been commendable, really, from the Tigers, but not good enough this evening.
Here's Jordan Rankin, and McCarthy wrestling with him, almost got the shirt off his back. McCarthy in there again, and Liam Watts, and there's a weary Watts taken to ground. They've worked hard of the Castleford Tigers, but they've just run into a Red Devil brick wall. Minikin.
They've done an awful lot of work in the middle. They haven't had the go-forward cast that they normally have.
It hasn't just been in the middle where they've outplayed them. Liam Watts, 50 tackles. Oh, almost for Wellham.
Ball's back with McShane. McShane to Greg Eden. Eden cutting infield, but McCarthy makes the tackle.
Just going back to Liam Watts, he did 50 tackles last week, 50 tackles this week, and I thought it was an outstanding performance from Watts. For me, he put one foot on the plane for that Great Britain test at the end of the year, and he's still trying here in the dying embers of this game.
And then gives himself up for that obstruction penalty.
He needed to give himself up, he needed to drop to one knee, and that's why he's been penalised. It goes behind his own man. The obstruction was called, the referee just let the player go on. If he drops to a knee, that's it. I agree with you, Barry. I think he's on the plane. I think Liam Watts has been a standout performer for the last couple of years.
There's a lot of front rows, Tez.
Yeah, there is, but
Thompson,
he deserves it. He deserves it.
The players over in Australia.
Well, they won't have to get on the plane.
Good point, Bill. A good point, well made.
Cheaper option. Here's Chris Wellham just inside his own half, and I'd go for Niall Evalds, my man of the match, folks.
Yeah. And just to pick it up, lads, they will have to get on the plane to go to New Zealand.
It's with Josh Jones, another of the man of the match nominees.
You have to take it away, don't you? Let him have his moment, Tess. It's a funny joke.
80 years since Salford won the 1939 championship final, beating the Castleford Tigers 8-6 in front of 70,000 almost at Main Road. 50 years ago, Castleford beat Salford at Wembley in the 1969 Wembley final in front of nearly 100,000. Well, maybe not those numbers here tonight, but for the Salford Red Devils supporters, this is another landmark victory.
Well, Salford have played at Old Trafford previously in the Premierships, haven't they, when they were in Division 2. But who would have thought in the early 90s that when that man would have been supporting them, sat in the stand watching his current CEO, Ian Blease, who was captain at the time. Two proud Salford lads. One of them a coach, one of them CEO, along with Paul Rowley, who's now on the coaching setup. Done a tremendous job to build this club up. Everyone thought that they wouldn't be able to compete with the big boys. Well, they've not got the big budget, but they've certainly done it on the field.
One defeat in the last 10 games now for Salford. If you're going to go to a grand final, you need to be
That's the momentum you need, absolutely.
Hey, Bill, look at that loss as well. It was only by 6 points at the DW. And like I said before, they had chances to win that game.
Well, they've looked a tough prospect here tonight. Can they go another game? Another 2 games? Maybe a game too far for the Castleford Tigers here tonight. Big effort, got them past Warrington last week, but they haven't been able to match that here tonight. Truman's kick, but it's into the arms of Krishnan Inu, and Inu barreling forward, bouncing through the challenges towards those deliriously happy Salford supporters at that end of the field. They get the penalty.
The Salford fans were like a magnet, just pulling Chris Ninu towards the sideline. He copped a couple of high shots, did Inu, but he just couldn't get over there.
And the first boo of the night from Salford fans. They're booing because their side are going to take the 2 points on offer. A bit of tongue-in-cheek banter between fans and players. What a performance. What a run from that man.
The Salford Reds are rising, sing their supporters. The coach celebrates. Inu adds 2 more points to make it 22-0 to the Salford Red Devils, who will advance within a game of Old Trafford. Dejection for the Castleford Tigers. Shut out tonight. And shut out is the word.
Incredible, absolute incredible performance. To nil, Castleford, they've not scored some points, not as many as they did a couple of years ago, but they are a dangerous side. And come on, realistically, lads, 80 minutes away from Old Trafford. just the other side of Barton Bridge. Could we ever imagine that the start of the year, and could he ever imagine, no matter what he says, like realistically, if asked at the start of the year, he'd be saying, yeah, we'll get in the playoffs. Yeah, we want to get to Old Trafford. Did they actually believe that they can do it? I tell you what, they do now.
Well, we don't have poker faces, Terry and I. We would love to see Ian Watson get to the grand final. We would love to see him rewarded for all the effort. There's a lot of rugby league to be played before he allows himself to dream about that. But for moments, certainly tonight anyway, he'll think about the job that his side has done, the influence he's had on the way that they play. They're slightly different to everybody else, the Salford Red Devils, but from 1 to 17, and everybody that hasn't taken the field, there's a togetherness, there's a team spirit that he has fostered and cultivated. And well done, Watto.
Meanwhile, the Castleford Tigers will go and salute their supporters who've travelled in big numbers here tonight, but will head home disappointed. Shut out. There's two words actually, but either way, it's what's happened. It is what's happened for Grant Millington and the dejected Castleford Tigers players who thought maybe they could make a charge from fifth, but it's Salford from third.